The need to feel connected in our increasingly disconnected pace of life has never been greater, but the ongoing issue of maintaining safety and cybersecurity while doing so is one that our next guest says should be a top priority. Tim Rahschulte, thanks for joining us here in the studio today. So let's jump right into it. We mentioned the desire to be as connected as possible, but obviously maintaining safety is a top priority, as you say. How do we accomplish both?
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, being connected, one, has never been easier with social media and all the access points that we have with technology. But also what we realize is that the connectedness of, being face-to-face with individuals is also important. When we think about safety, we have to have safety relative to these days of COVID, physical safety, but we also have to make sure that we maintain online, as well as when we're face-to-face, security when it comes to our personal information. And when we think about cybersecurity and the way in which we manage our business within municipalities across the country, we have to be increasingly vigilant when it comes to cybersecurity threats, which oftentimes we think about data and online data, but it's also physical information, physical identification of information of individuals, as well as the cities and counties and municipalities that they work in. We have to make sure that we maintain that vigilance to make sure that we are maintaining a level of safety for our data, as well as our own personal health and fitness.
And through your work and your research, you have identified a leadership development gap. What is that?
There is a leadership development gap. We recognize across all municipalities in the country, there is existing leaders that know that they've got to get better and emerging leaders that know that they've got to get ready. When we think about the issues that we face today, many of these issues were not faced just a few years ago, especially 10 years ago, but even more recently than that. And what made us successful in the past as leaders may not necessarily make us successful today. And so our leaders are recognizing that they've got a gap in ability to address the most pressing issues today that they face. And so therefore there is this need, again, for connectivity. How do we connect with other individuals? How do we connect with best practice research? How do we connect with how we're going to address our problems today so that we can be successful and deliver the services within our cities, our counties, and our states?
And you've been able to identify 3 essential ways to try to correct that?
Access, relevance, and efficiency. We need to make sure that we have access to those best practices. And so we have to make sure that we have a level of access to individuals, organizations, and research that provide the understanding of what our best practices today, what are going to help us today and in the future. We also need to make sure that those best practices are absolutely relevant to what we're doing. What is best practice for one city or municipality may not necessarily be best practice for another one. So relevance becomes really important. And then that third piece is efficiency. We have to make sure that as we're filling this leadership gap, helping existing leaders get better and emerging leaders get ready, that we make it as efficient as possible. Because let's face it, these leaders of cities and counties are extremely busy today. And we can't layer on top hours and hours and hours of additional personal training. We have to make it easy, we have to make it efficient, we have to integrate it into those busy schedules so that the information, that training can be consumed and immediately applied. So access, relevance, and efficiency are really key variables in making existing leaders better and emerging leaders ready.
All right, Tim, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.